My name is Brooke Stream. I live in Henderson, Nevada. Before I discovered that Calvin had a tic disorder, I already knew something was wrong. He exhibited signs of tics when he was as early as 3 years old. He would get sick, he would have a throat clearing from being sick, and then it would continue for weeks on end afterwards. I knew pretty quickly on what it was because my older daughter had also experienced tics. Hers had started much later. She was about 10 when hers started, but it was something that I knew pretty early on was tic related. What I didn't know is how bad they would get, how quickly. And so by the time he was in first grade, they began to be constant. So there were motor tics, there were vocal tics, constantly, probably every 10 to 15 seconds sometimes, that just wouldn't let up. And that's when I decided to go ahead and try medication because I thought I'd been holding off for so long because I didn't want to start that road so early on in his life, but it was something that we just kind of surrendered to. And then what we found was it didn't work anyways. So it was really frustrating, something that we'd held out for so long. We tried all kinds of things. We tried essential oils. We tried, mini diet changes. We tried meditation. We tried, craniosacral therapy, and what I found was like nothing gave us any relief. When Calvin was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, it was all-consuming for me. I think that's the best word. It became my life's mission to figure out how I could help him. I wasn't satisfied with the neurologist would just tell me, this is just how it is. This is something he's going to have to deal with for the rest of his life. And I went down every rabbit hole on the internet, trying every supplement that worked for somebody. I was up at night just in tears, crying to my husband that I didn't know how to help him. And I just felt helpless because I knew he handled it really, really well. All things considered, it was really me who was worried about what that would mean for the rest of his life. And it was pretty heartbreaking and it was pretty all consuming. It became my life's mission to kind of figure out how I could help him. When I discovered Regenerating Health, I had been going down a million rabbit holes on the internet and Facebook groups. I began to join different Facebook groups, and I saw a post from somebody, I don't remember who it was, talking about having worked with Dr. Gibson and that it was really life-changing for them and their child. And I remember my introductory call with Danielle, and I just felt like she got me, right? She was someone who had been in my shoes and who understood the depths of despair that I felt associated with this. And then when I talked to Dr. Gibson, it was the same. It was like finding my people, kind of my tribe, so to speak, of other parents, because I didn't know any other parents that were going through these challenges. And so it was really like, kind of finding that tribe of people who understood me. And, it was very informative, right? Every step of the way. I mean, from the TikTok Tuesdays that she does to all the testing we went through. I admit to being skeptical. I think there was a part of me that was really fearful that I was putting all my hopes in this basket and maybe it wasn't going to be successful. And it took a while, right? It was a long process for us. And it's something that we still continue to work to this day, but we've had so much success. And I think that Calvin has been able to really blossom because of working with Dr. Piper and because his tics are almost non-existent at this point in time. You would never know that he has them, and it's like night and day from what we were going through before. But it was such a great experience working with Regenerating Health. So Calvin was always a really social child, but what I found was when he began to have tics, he began to withdraw a little bit, except in environments where he was really comfortable and he knew the people. He was always worried if his tics were going to because they were so obvious, right? These vocal tics. He was always so worried that they were going to make other people uncomfortable. And he began to become really nervous about it bothering other people. We signed him up for School of Rock, and he dropped out of School of Rock. He didn't want to participate in it, even though music was something that he really loved. He since then, he was already in an environment where kids had known him before the tics became really bad, so that was really helpful from a school perspective, but he's still worried about making people uncomfortable, people being annoyed. Kids would say something to him like, can't you stop making that noise? And he would say, no, it's just my tics, I can't. But after we began working with Regenerating Health and we really began to see progress, Calvin ran for student council president, and he got up in front of 200 kids in the church at his school and made his speech. And I don't think that's something that he would have been able to do if he was still battling the tics. He started golf lessons with new kids that he doesn't know, and he was comfortable doing that. And I think that's something else that he's really found his passion when it comes to golf as well. And I don't think he would have been able to do that if it hadn't been for working with Regenerating Health and Dr. Gibson. We have a lot of fun hacks that we use to kind of help manage our tics, and after working with Dr. Piper. We do meditation sometimes at bedtime. We also started acupuncture. We found that to be a really great complementary service to the work that we're doing. We are constantly planning for our trips. So we use the Find Me Gluten Free app. We're always looking ahead where we're going, what we're going to eat. It's really caused me to have to be really thoughtful about approaching travel and family trips. I remember that first trip we were going to take when we first started working with Dr. Gibson. I was so nervous, and I had this long consultation with Danielle, like, okay, what am I going to bring, and how am I going to make sure the food's going to be okay? And what I found over time is it's become second nature to me. Like, I think ahead, I plan ahead, I figure out what to do, I bring my snacks with me, and make sure that we can stay on plan, and that he doesn't have those challenges come up. So I think that's a fun little thing. The Find Me Gluten Free app has been a lifesaver for me, especially when we leave our little bubble of Henderson, Nevada. This process has really helped Calvin step into the spotlight and take center stage. If you know Calvin, to know Calvin is to love him. He is this amazing, kind, incredible soul, and now he's comfortable being exactly who he is. Like I mentioned before, he ran for student council president. He made a speech in front of his whole school. He is able to feel confident in his own skin and take center stage in whatever piece of his life, whatever things he chooses to do with his life going forward. And it's just such an incredible thing to be part of. I can't recommend Regenerating Health enough. It changed our lives.
Before I knew I had a tic disorder, people were kind of looking at me in a weird way, so that I realized that something was wrong.
Did it make you uncomfortable?
Yeah, it did make me kind of uncomfortable because I didn't know what was going on. Dr. Piper has made me feel a lot better. Now I'm very comfortable and nobody's really judging it. Like, nobody even thinks that I have tics anymore. Well, it's probably being in big groups of people, because then I feel way more comfortable because they don't even know that I have tics, so that I'm more comfortable in being with big groups of kids. Thank you, Dr. Piper, for all the help and support that you've given us to manage my tics.